Peace, Black Supremacy. Join the website King Noble Uncensored. I'm going to say that now because in the last video I didn't mention it. But I was already talking about infertility caused by the lead in the water. So I said, let me go ahead and talk about the Zika virus because that's um, another scare that they are trying to perpetuate into the Black community. Sure enough, because you better believe that there are a lot of people in Brazil, South America that are melanated, that are primarily being attacked and targeted by the Zika virus. Why do I say attacked and targeted if it's supposed to be caused by a mosquito? Because for one, the Zika virus has already been around for decades, if not centuries. It's at least been documented since about 1952. And the Zika virus, it never caused this brain deformation or this, that is being caused in the children, where it's causing them to apparently be born without a brain or missing a few hemispheres, or, looking abnormal. When you actually look into the Zika virus and the microcephaly that they say the Zika virus causes in the pregnant woman to make the babies born the way they do. When you look into the Zika virus and the microcephaly, you kind of see that, for one, the Zika virus has already been around and it was not causing microcephaly in all the decades that it's been around. So why now? Then when you look at the microcephaly, which means small head, the baby's being born with a small head. When you look at that, you see that not only are these people in Brazil already predisposed genetically to microcephaly, but for one, there's no connection. And the only connection that they really have is that in 2014, they started giving pregnant women in Brazil in December 2014 a vaccine. And this vaccine was supposed to be given to them before the 22nd week of pregnancy. And that's supposed to coincide with around the time that the baby's brain is being developed. So they made sure that they gave this vaccine before that, right? So they can tell you that this vaccine is for whatever it is they're telling you for, and then later tell you that it's, it has nothing to do with your baby being born with this syndrome. But what happened after a year later is that 2,400 babies were born with microcephaly, which is obviously a skyrocketed number compared to what the people in South America are already used to, because again they've already been predisposed to the babies being born with this. So I had to pause for a second, but if I can catch where I left off, I think I was talking about the people in South America already being predisposed to be microcephaly, and so when you look at the babies, and King Noble pointed it out for me, mainly because the first video I saw looked horrible. It just looked like a sheath of membrane over what wasn't even a real baby. It was just a drawing. So like you could imagine just how much they're actually trying to scare people if you're seeing something like that, where the baby's head, the brain is exposed and it's just a membrane covering it. That was my first video. But when you watch more videos, you see that these babies, they actually look pretty bright and pretty conscious and cognizant and everything that's going on. And some of them actually look pretty, decent looking. So obviously them being predisposed to this brain or genetic deformation they probably adapted in some ways where the baby can still function and still has a certain level of awareness and functionality that I guess we've yet to find out about adults that are actually born with this, and how they function, since they're already predisposed. And that means that they've had it before, right? So the only connection that they have with this so-called Zika virus and the microcephaly is that out of the 2,400 babies that were born post the vaccine that the mothers were given, is that one of the babies that that died. I guess you can die from this thing. One of the babies that died are, I think that's not even what it was, is that one of the babies that died out of the 2,400 happened to have Zika virus. So they tried to say that because that one baby had Zika virus and the mother also had it, and they also found another one of the women, I guess, of one of the 2,400 babies, a mother, they didn't say anything about the child, but they said another mother also had the Zika virus. So that's 3 people in total that because of that, Zika virus is the cause of microcephaly in all of these babies. And that doesn't really make any sense. If you look at the numbers and just the statistics in general, it doesn't make any sense. But we know that they are desperate to draw such conclusions in their efforts for population control, which is what it really comes down to, because they're now pushing that women, even in other countries such as Jamaica and such as even America, that they should not have intercourse for 2 years, right? So along with that they're also going to try to force some type of sterilization. So whether that's like this Depo-Provera injection or something like that, they're going to try and force that onto these women of childbearing age. So you could just imagine how people would be terrified to think that this is a real and a pressing issue when it's nothing but that they have ramped up, their agenda for population control. So you have these so-called mosquito viruses that out of nowhere are evolving into deadly sexually transmitted diseases now all of a sudden, because just yesterday they were saying that now all of a sudden Zika virus is also transmitted by sexual contact. That one person in Texas has who just happened to have sex with somebody in South America now has the Zika virus. Not that they got bit by a mosquito, right? But that they have the Zika virus because they had sex with somebody. Now, if the Zika virus has been around for as many years as it has been around, how is it going to just all over between the course of 2014 and now evolve into something that not only is sexually transmitted, but also causes your baby to be born with a brain malady, right? So it's like it's all of a sudden too many symptoms that are just accumulating. And I said this today, I said, just keep watching, and every day it's going to be an exponential level of the threat of this so-called Zika virus that they're going to try to put on the people, just like they did with the Ebola. Every day you looked at was something more dramatic that you had to be aware of, right? So then today we wake up and now, what was it? Somebody in Florida, I think, also had the Zika virus. But I think the story might have been a little more in depth than that. I can't remember right now, but so you can see how they're trying to really push this thing. So tomorrow you might hear that there's 20 cases of the Zika virus in, some state somewhere in America. And then the day after that, you might hear that it's 50 people and a baby has been born, even though 9 months hasn't passed yet, but you're going to hear that a baby has been born with microcephaly all of a sudden out of nowhere. So you got to kind of watch out for these scares, and then you're going to start hearing them telling you that you shouldn't not get pregnant for 2 years. So that's their time frame right now. They want to create this children of men effect, and like in the video where nobody's having any babies, and the population is reducing because it's like they gotta meet up with the times. Their population is declining. People are not drinking the lead in the water fast enough. You're not dying fast enough. So they're trying to enforce other actions of biological warfare. So, for all of these viruses and disease, if you are concerned, always check out certain herbs and stuff that work for it, because these things have been around for a time. The people in South America who are conscious more than likely have a certain regimen that they follow, that they have used to avoid that. Just like people in Africa, to combat the Nile virus, they utilize the neem leaf. So it's like, if you're really that concerned, check that stuff out. But don't be like, oh, I'm not going to get pregnant because I don't want to get the Zika virus and my baby be born with microcephaly. Because I've even seen one picture of a patent that somebody patented the Zika virus and the vaccine. So it's like it's starting to look like the whole Ebola scare, where the only people that are going to be cured is going to be some Caucasian somewhere that goes to an all black town to be cured, you know, and who knows, maybe had sex with 100 women in the area before he went to the hospital. So it's like you got to watch out for these things, and don't just follow the hype, because they are trying to, you know, if you're scared, you're going to feed into them, you're going to submit, and you're going to give over to them. And not only that, you're going to have less children, less babies. They already don't want you to do it. So it's like, in a way, as a black community too, we need to come up with a way of anti-population reduction, i.e. having more babies, i.e. being just as vigorous and you know, and doing it, and stop downplaying people who do have children. Assist those that do, because this might be the last generation of children who are born into the world without any serious forced population reduction means, you know, because now that, you know, they're coming out with way more tactics and propaganda. So Black Supremacy, join the website kingnobleuncensored.com, and when King Noble Black Rulership.com comes up, also join that. Peace.